Hello and welcome to another episode of the Firearms Insider Gun and Gear Review Podcast. This is episode 163. On this show, we showcase gun reviews, gear, and anything else that gun enthusiasts may be looking for. We strive to provide a approximate, unbiased, and honest perspective. I'm your host, Ryan Cross, from the Firearms Radio Network, your source for broadcasts for shooters, hunters, and gun enthusiasts. So this week we got, of course, Tony, Sean from Black Bag Resources, Chad, and Rob in the house. How's it going, guys?
Phenomenal.
It's going fine. It's going great.
Awesome.
Super fantastic.
So this week,
your assassins have failed again. Sorry.
My what?
Your assassins have failed again. I'm back.
Oh,
Nice.
well, that's because I have not unleashed them yet. So this week we're going to talk about a scope. I'm going to be reviewing a Athlon Argos, an 8-34 by 56 scope, monster of a rifle scope, for a little tiny monster of a price. Then we're going to be talking about a Glock trigger, an aftermarket Glock trigger, as well as a product from Gun Vault for your AR-15. But before we get into all that, we're going to talk about what we've done in guns this week, starting with... Let's give Rob the first position there.
Boy, that's going to be easy other than carrying concealed. I really haven't done a whole lot in guns this week.
Great story, bro.
Shame.
Thanks a lot.
Yes, I know. I'm letting everybody down. I'm sorry, but got other personal things we're working on right now.
Well,
Like acquiring more guns and currency.
And a house.
Nice.
Okay. Moving out that hotel room, huh?
Yeah, man.
Look at you moving.
I need some more room for. Never mind. And Sean, what have you been doing this week?
Who?
You.
Sean.
Me.
You're Sean. Yeah.
Maybe drinking before the show was a bad idea. So I kind of had my hands full this week. Been doing a lot with the business, shipping orders. Tis the season, so everybody's getting their goodies. Over the weekend, we had quite a bit of action. We did the first ever critical self-aid course with my good friend Doc Schoenfeld. Came out and taught the course down at Range 14. We had some of the upper echelon folks from the Coalition of New Jersey Firearms Owners. Mike Wolf from Justifiable Force was there. Tony was there. I was there. It was tremendously informative. We got a lot out of it. Doc put together a really phenomenal 4-hour class that included both lecture and hands-on exercises. We covered things like tourniquet use, quick clot, what kinds of tourniquets and different techniques and how they should be applied. A lot of, what do you do in those first moments after you sustain a really traumatic injury to keep yourself alive until medical professionals can get there and provide a higher degree of care. So it was good. After that, I don't know, we didn't really do too much fun immediately after that. We shot a 50 caliber rifle. It was awesome. And a custom 1911, also awesome. I can't wait until that 1911 is mine. It's a gift my buddy Doc put together for me. So until then, I just have to look at pictures and cry a little bit.
Cool. Sean, I'm sorry. Sean finished. Tony, did you do anything?
Oh, yeah. Well, this week I took, besides doing the stuff that Sean and I did together, and let me say about that medical class, my medical training, emergency medical training from the military, of course, and that was 20 years old. I learned a lot in this class, a lot of stuff that I thought I knew. I was really rusty on and would cost me my life, really, if I would have tried to do some of the stuff in some of the scenarios that I thought I remembered from back then. You know what I mean? So if you've had medical training that's old, we're going to schedule these things again next year. We're going to probably have it a couple of times in multiple locations. And it really behooves you to go to one of these classes, because if you have old knowledge like I do, or if you're not sure what to do, it's really good to brush up on it. And gun-wise, yeah, we shot a Serbu. What was it? Serbu SA-50?
RN-50.
RN-50, I'm sorry. Was awesome. We also fired Sean's 1911, which was just stupid smooth. And I also took the CZ455 Ultra Match out again to the range last Wednesday and put some more rounds through it. And it is way more accurate than I am. And I really have to get better at shooting this thing because I shot, quarter-size groups with it. And I know I could do better. And that was with me just messing up totally. And I was shooting quarter-size groups out of, 25 yards?
Right.
So I know I could do much, much better with it. And that's what I'm probably going to be working on for the next little bit. Only because shooting a quality bolt action 22 is just awesome.
also finding the right ammo that the gun likes helps a lot too.
Yeah, I was using CCI mini mags. I was using Federal, that match ammo that comes in the bulk pack, and I was also firing a Gila, like super high velocity maximum. I think that's
Tony doesn't believe in scientifically choosing an ammunition. He likes to buy a bunch of stuff and pour it into a bucket, stir it all together with a big wooden spoon, and just start feeding it into the gun.
I was using it a box at a time.
Whatever works.
It's funny. The Federal really works almost everything I've ever shot through it. It was really accurate in my 1022. It's accurate in my SR22, and it's not horrible in this one. I'm just going to keep trying different brands, and I mean, I think it's more me than the rifle anyway, or the ammo.
Have you guys used the Aguila? Anybody else?
I've used the really heavy supersonic ones, or heavy subsonic ones.
Subsonic, yeah, that's
the
the 60 grain, right?
Yeah, the one that where the actual projectile is longer than the case itself.
Nice.
Yeah, that thing
I've used
hilarious.
And then I've used their primer fired stuff that only has a primer.
Their super hot stuff. Sean said, "This is kind of hot." I remember the day you had me shoot it. We were shooting regular Federal, I guess. He's like, pack. He was like, "This one's from Mexico. It's kind of hot." I pulled the trigger. I looked. I thought I blew his gun up. That's how much louder. And you actually had recoil from a 20.
It feels different. It sounds different. It smells different. Yeah. If you want a hotter 22, that's the stuff to get. It's more expensive, but you will notice a difference.
Have you crowned it?
What?
You were about to get to the velocity?
Yeah, it pretty much pushes 1,800 and change feet per second, which is faster than even velocity. What is it? The CCI Velociter is faster than that. And it just smells like hate and discontent.
It's pretty much the fastest 22 out there by like 200 feet per second, right? I mean, Velociter's 16 and change. Normal high velocity is 14. Anything else is usually 12 and somewhere 12. In that general ballpark.
Yeah.
This stuff is hot. And for it being a 22 long rifle cartridge that you look at it and go, yeah, what's the big deal? Shoot it. It's pretty neat.
What I did, because when I first, being in Jersey, pistol purchase permit, firearm ID card, all that, I got the money together and I purchased a 1022 was my all-around firearm. I shot a lot of rounds of this Agila ammo through, and I decided that was going to be my home defense gun until I could get something better. So when I loaded it up, I did the maths, and I calculated the foot-pounds, and it's pretty much the equivalent. Shooting this 22 out of a 16-inch barrel is the equivalent of firing 38 snub nose out of a 2-inch barrel. So that's not horrible for a home defense firearm, because you could do a. Go ahead.
I need to get some of that and put it in my little NA mini revolver and see what happens.
Hey Chad, why don't you jiggle your connections to your microphone? It's sounding kind of garbly.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know if it's because you went to the dentist, that's your actual voice, but I'm betting it's the microphone.
No, I'm betting it's the microphone.
He's trying out auto-tune on the show tonight.
Is that better?
No.
No?
No, still not better.
No, as a matter of fact, it's a little worse.
I don't know. Let me cut my video and see what happens. Is that better?
No. Why don't you hop
looks
out?
Better.
I'll hop out.
Jesus.
Yeah, it looks a lot better. Looks a lot better with your face out.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, I'll hop out and hop back in.
All right, sounds good. So I think we're just gonna skip his turn for what we did in guns this week. I didn't do anything either. I just did some shopping, went to some Christmas parties, got some ammo from said Christmas parties because my friends know what I like. So thank goodness for gun friends and subsonic 9mm Glock magazines. I bought people like parts for their guns. Hey, here's that new Ruger 1020 or BX trigger for your 1022. Call me and I'll put that in for you. That kind of thing.
Cool.
So getting into the announcements, first up, we're going to talk about some Facebook feedback because last week we talked about products under $100 for great Christmas gifts. And I opened it up at the end to listeners to say, hey, if we missed something that deserves mention it on Facebook. So we had John, I can't pronounce your last name, so I'm just going to say John S. on Facebook, commented on the post. He said that item number 1, Under Armour cold gear tactical gloves. Don't let the cold weather stop you from training. And then he also said XS big dot night sights. So I guess those are two good suggestions. I don't really own anything Under Armour anymore just because they kind of did a little backhanded thing to the hunting community. But if you can find a similar product that's not necessarily the Under Armour brand that would protect your hands in the cold weather, that would be good too. And then we also got a video from Tim Marquis, and he actually posted a video of the ETS mags and a kind of a glaring failure of those mags when he slapped them into the mag well of his Glock 22. The base plate would slide right off, and thus the spring and the follower and would fly right out the bottom, both on a loaded and unloaded magazine. So I'm actually going to I got some ETS mags coming my way from just a friend of the show. So I'm going to test them out and see if they can do the same thing. They are going to be the 31 rounders. So I don't know if that problem is limited to the 15 rounders, but we're going to give it a try and then do a review on them for the show. So we'll really appreciate that to the person who's sending me those. So those are the Facebook announcements there. Getting into the bandwidth sponsor, Patriot Patch Co. We've got some pre-orders up still, and I know I mentioned the 1911 cleaning mat, but Jake just put it on sale. So instead of $25, it's only $19.87,
Nice.
and that's a screaming deal. And it's a really nice cleaning mat. It's got both a full graphic 1911 as well as a blueprinted with all the parts. Illustrated on there and diagrammed. So if you own a 1911 or you know a 1911 enthusiast in your life, you're definitely going to want to get that mat for Christmas. We've also got a hoodie pre-order. That's the Freedom Switch. We've also got the Luke 2236 patch, the Participation Trophy patch, and the World War II Pinup 3-pack available for pre-order. The December Patch of the Month patches have shipped. I just got mine in today. So it's Silent Night with Santa Claus holding a suppressor. Get the camera to focus in on there. So pretty awesome Christmas patch. I put this right onto my tactical stocking, which I'll be doing a review of next week because I think everyone should get a tactical stocking just because it's the perfect thing to bust out for Christmas. And it reminds people of the only items you're interested in Christmas. Don't put no stocks on my tactical stocking. You know what I want.
Which one did you get? Because there's a bunch of people making them at this point.
The LA police gear, the Molly, the actual one with the carabiners, and the handle, the load bearing handle.
The full ridiculous one.
The full ridiculous one.
Yeah. You spent big money on that. Good for you.
No, it's only $9 right now. They have got it on some kind of crazy sale, trying to liquidate before they don't want to sit on a whole bunch of inventory after Christmas is over, I imagine.
You should see what kind of prices you get after Christmas. That's when I bought mine.
Yeah.
Now you tell him.
That's a good time to get them. I had a black one, and I bought a green one this year, and I actually filled the black one, and I went to a White Elephant Christmas party or Ugly Sweater party, and then we played White Elephant gift exchange. And so that was my contribution, and you should see all my friends that were stealing and plotting and what do you call it? Colluding to steal and win that guy.
Nice.
So pretty good gift. Moving on, the new listener support program, go to firearmsradio.tv and click on the pledge button, and you can pledge to any of your favorite podcasts on the network, including this one, the Gun and Gear Review podcast. So any amount of money that you pledge goes directly into funding us getting new products to review on the show. And depending on how much money you pledge is how much of a reward in the shape of Patriot Patch swag you get in return. So you can check that out on the pledge page. And then we want to make sure that you go over to Black Bag Resources for any other Christmas shopping you're doing this year. Using the new coupon code, Big Papa, for $5 off. Either there's 2 trauma packs. You can get the Quick Clot Trauma Pack or the Rapid Response Trauma Pack. And that's going to be effective until further notice. So, Sean, how do you spell Big Papa?
Yeah, there you have it from the man himself. BIGPOPPA. We spelled it correctly, not the way Ryan tried to spell it the first time. Just showing how ignorant you is.
You know how Ryan spells, so. Am I sounding better?
Much better.
Oh, good.
Yeah, sound older than ever, man. Awesome.
Oh,
Glad to have you back, Grandpappy.
Wow. Okay.
Also, make sure if you want to donate any products to Tony and the second is for everyone diversity shoots, use the coupon code Simon Says Train. It'll be free shipping because that product is not going to you. It's being handed directly to Tony, so he can give it away to some new shooters and people that come to his events.
Awesome.
And also check out the Gun Collective store, tgcgear.com or store.theguncollective. It's got some awesome gear that Patriot Patch Co. is fulfilling for and designed and fulfilled for John Patton. Every $5 you spend is an entry into a giveaway for a rifle and a hunting trip. And I've still got no details on what are those going to be, and I've been plugging it for how many episodes now. So,
don't know, but I picked up a sweatshirt, so I don't care. I'm in.
there you go. Although you might need to switch to a different state if you win, FYI.
No, he doesn't.
No, he doesn't.
Or he just has to give it to Sean in Pennsylvania. In which case, congratulations. So them's the announcements. So we're going to get into the review. And I'm reviewing today a scope that I got from Pershing Armory. Actually sent this to me, and they wanted me to review it. They're an Athlon dealer. And this is probably the biggest magnification range scope I've ever had the pleasure of trying out and reviewing. So this is the Athlon Argos BTR 8-34 by 56 rifle scope. So that's pretty ridiculous going all the way up to 34. I was kind of skeptical about how clear the images were going to be and what kind of degradation of the image quality would be at the higher range. But overall, it's a very tactical scope that looks like it's built for a long-range precision rifle. So I've got it here on my Remington long-range 700 and 300 Win Mag. I built this for my pappy, and it turns out that it's too heavy for him to carry in the field, so I guess I get to keep it. Oh darn! So it's I planned that very well, I should say. So the scope is it comes in MOA or a mil dot reticle. I got the mil reticle. If I would have had the choice, I probably would have asked for the MOA. But being that I've never really gotten to play with the mil radian system, I thought it was a good time to pick it up, do some homework, learn up on it, and maybe develop a little bit of skills with it. And I should say that as a first-time user of the mil system, the reticle that this scope uses actually is really easy to understand. You don't feel like you have to take a class on special forces sniper training to understand mils and how to use them on your scope. So it was kind of a good learning reticle for using mils. The reticle is called the APMR FFP IR mil reticle, and I know that's a mouthful. Basically, the IR part, it does have a illuminated turret on there, so you can turn the illumination on and shoot in low light. Let's see. I had written down what the heck that all stood for, but I seem to have misplaced that information. But the more important thing to know is that it has really easy to read whole numbers listed on the reticle itself. So you've got 2, 4, 6, and 8 going to your left, right, and up. And then down below, you have 4, 6, and 8, but you've also got a lot more stadia dots to help you to hold over for wind. So it's got dashes that account for every half mil. And the thing is, though, it's a first focal plane scope. That's what the FFP means in that nomenclature. So when you zoom in with your magnification, the reticle basically grows and shrinks. So once you zoom in past 20 power, the reticle begins to crop. And at the highest power setting of 34, it really crops in. And so you're seeing less mils in your reticle view. So when you're zoomed out, you can see the whole reticle spans 18 mils. And then when you zoom in past 20, it really hits the very edge of the 9 mil mark. And then when you zoom in past that all the way up to 34, you can only see 9 mils, which is 44.5 on the left and right side. So it really kind of cuts your mil holdovers by half when you zoom all the way in. And some people have returned the scope just based on that, and that they think that they need to zoom in and have all the mils on there, and not using the turrets at all for the adjustment. So it's kind of something you've got to understand if you're taking, mile-long shots and you want to use your just your reticle and not your turrets, then you're kind of new to the game, because you've got to use your turrets because you are limited on your holdover on your reticle. That's really just for quick shots within a certain maximum range. If you want to get out past 1,000 yards, you really should be using your turrets. So the turrets that are on here are pretty tactical. They stick out quite a ways. They've got nice ridges on them for traction. It does have a very positive and audible click every time you turn them. They do have a return to zero feature, so there's just a little Allen head at the top of the turret. You can pop that off, pull the turret completely off once you have it zeroed, of course, at the range. And then you just recenter the turret where the 0 lines up with the index mark on the scope. Put that turret cap back down and then tighten it up. So if you get this out of the box and you're noticing that as you turn and click, the lines don't really line up, because I've read some other reviews saying, well, the lines don't line up. They didn't realize that you could, zero it at the range and then, basically re-zero your caps so that you always know that you can return down to 0. It does not have a 0 stop like Vortex has, and I'm wondering if that's like a patented thing that you can't introduce onto anything if you're not Vortex. I do like that feature, because if you do a lot of adjustment for elevation and then you want to come back down, you don't have to go, okay, 1 time around, 2 time around, 3 times around on your turret, and then remember to go back to 0. You just go until it stops, and then you go back up to 0. So that's kind of an issue. You just got to keep track of how many times you've made a full rotation on that turret. It's not a huge deal. As far as the clarity of the glass, those have multi-coatings on there that really help to keep it bright. As far as the comparison between Vortex, because I don't know if you guys know, but I'm kind of a Vortex guy. I've got like one of their optics on almost every one of my rifles, just because I really like the brand. It's a price point I can afford. And I didn't really know that Athlon products were comparable and yet like way cheaper. So I was kind of bummed when I found this, because I was like, oh man, I probably should have looked into Athlon before Vortex. But with optics, you really gotta, if you can afford to pay more, you really should, because you're gonna enjoy that much more quality out of the product. But the MSRP on this guy is only $469, so $470, and then retail you can probably get it around $390, $389. And that's a extremely good price for something that's 8 to 34. So the question is, well, where did they cut corners? Where did they get able to sell it for that price, and quote unquote be a very good precision scope? I mean, to me, when you zoom in past 20, you really start to see like, okay, colors are starting to get off, and you can see more mirage, and it doesn't really have a good crisp clarity at that range. It does have parallax adjustment on the left side, which I need on my rifle scopes because it just helps my eyes focus in better. So if you are shooting at the range or you're out hunting and your target is, 500 yards, you can turn your parallax scope to 500 or your parallax turret to 500, and it'll be as crisp as possible. So if you're hunting game and you're trying to identify points to keep everything legal in the game laws, or whether you're just shooting on paper and you want to really see the target clear, see your hits clear, that's a really nice feature that I like to have on all my scopes. It is a little stiff. It's not like it's kind of more of a smooth turn, doesn't have any detent or anything like the elevation of windage do, but it's pretty easy to turn. It's got enough texture on the turret to do that. The magnification ring also has the same texture on there. It also has a little ridge for your thumb to catch onto to give you extra leverage when you're turning the ring. It was pretty stiff at first, but it did loosen up a little bit over time. And besides that, the illumination, it does light up. You've got multiple brightness settings, 1 to 11. Just to choose from there, so that's pretty standard. Mine came with scope caps. I'm not sure if that's the standard, as all their scopes come with scope caps, but it was really nice not to have to run out to the store with the scope in hand and try and get Butler Creeks to match up for it. So I do really appreciate that. Now I'm going to get through the 8 key points. So the claim to fame is for those of you who are just getting started in the 2 precision rifle, or you're looking to take a look at the Argos BTR family of scopes. So obviously the target market is going to be the guys that are shooting long range precision, either on the bench or matches like F-class, that kind of thing, or if you just want a long range optic for your hunting rifle. Features and benefits, obviously, like I said, it's 8 to 34 magnification. The objective is 56. The tube is 30 millimeter. So I did have to get high rings instead of mediums. I usually like to get mediums, even with a 50 mil barrel, just get the bell really close to the barrel. Because usually I've got like a 20 MOA scope on there too, so that really gets the bell close to the barrel. But because it's 56, I had to step it up to the highest, or not the highest, but just high rings. The reticle, like I said, it is glass etched, which is good because you're not going to pick up any weird effects that you get when it's a wire reticle, and it allows the reticle to be a lot more detailed. First focal plane reticle, like I said, the surface finish is black matte. It's got 2 kinds of coatings on the lenses. First, it's got the wideband fully multi-coated that just helps with the brightness, and then extra protective coating. Extra is like the marketing name for it, and that's just to protect it against scratches and picking up smudges and other kind of dirt and grime. So the tube is one-piece construction, and they like to do that because it helps them achieve complete argon purging. So it's waterproof, shockproof, fog-proof, because of that, it's argon purged, and it is made out of 6061 aluminum, and it is heat treated. The eye relief is 3.3 inches. The field of view at 100 yards is 12.5 to 3 feet, and the click value is 1/10 of a mil. Per rotation, it's 5 mils, and its total windage and elevation is 13 mils. So if you kind of run through your calculator, and that's not, you need more windage than that, or elevation than that for the distance that you're shooting, then you need to look at something with a taller turret. They are exposed turrets, and it does have that side focus that's also exposed, 15 yards to infinity. Its total inches is 15.5. It's not the longest scope I've ever had. The weight is 32.2 ounces, so you definitely will feel that ounce, the weight added to your rifle. If you're like me and you have a big old varmint profile barrel 300 Win mag that's got inletted for a Accuracy International magazine, it's got a kind of a heavy stock anyway. It's only going to make it that much more heavier. So keep that in mind. I wouldn't necessarily put this on my lightweight rifles like a Kimber Mountain Ascent or anything along those lines, because I just feel like it'd throw off the balance a whole lot. It does have a warranty. They call it the Athlon Gold Medal Lifetime Warranty. It doesn't really matter who bought the scope. If it's you, if you traded it to your brother, if it's gone through past 520 hands, it doesn't matter. The only stipulation is that you didn't intentionally damage it. Like the story of taking your Vortex scope, going out in the parking lot and beating against the curb and then bringing it back into the dealer and getting a replacement. They obviously don't really want to encourage that kind of recklessness. So they specifically say in their warranty that it does not cover purposeful destruction like that, but it is covered no matter what. So if it, something fails on it, that that they've at least got your back on that. Aesthetic finishes and options, there are none other than you can get Miller MOA reticles. And what others are saying, I found a pretty decent review of a guy that mounted it on his 6.5 Creedmoor and maxed it out at over 1,000 yards. So he's got some pros and some cons on there. He really talks about his cons with the image and how it getting fuzzy past 24 times magnification. So if you're interested in reading that, I've got it up on my review in the Firearms Insider website. So like I said, price point $469.99. Retail, you can get it at Pershing Armory for $389. That's who I got it from. And they're out of Iowa, but they can ship to you. And let's see what else. Other places you can get it, Amazon or Optics Planet, they all carry it as well. So my rating, I gave it an 8 as great, just an 8.0. The finish is tough. It's really wear resistant. I really like when I'm reviewing a scope, the tactile nature of the turrets and the magnification ring is kind of what I care about, because that's the mechanical things on the scope that you tweak with the most when you're using it. I like that it's smooth with not too much resistance, because I hate to break my looking through the scope and break my cheek weld just to get better leverage on turning things. So I did appreciate everything was nice and had a good finish or a good texture on there where I didn't need to break my shooting position at all to use them. I like that it has that raised nub for leverage on the magnification ring, but it's not too big and ugly like a throw lever. But obviously it's incompatible. If you have a favorite throw lever, it's incompatible with those because it does have that knob on there. Turrets can be re-zeroed, but I did give it a negative for not having a zero stop for when you're returning to zero. And obviously I gave it a con for the clarity, getting kind of noticeably hazy past 24 power. But realistically, on this scope, I would never zoom in past 24 unless I was trying to use it in the capacity of I forgot my spotting scope in the truck or at home, and I really need to zoom in and glass the spot that's my hunting partner would say, hey, there's a deer over there. I could zoom in all the way to 34 and check it out, and kind of get an idea what he's looking at. But it's in no way going to replace a spotting scope. It's just, if you want to have that much power, even though you're going to be sacrificing some of the quality of that image, you've at least got it there. But realistically, I'll probably never go past 24. In fact, I got the muscle memory down to where the knob on the little raised on the magnification ring, where that is indexed, basically when I want to zoom it into 24, so that way I know where to stop. So on a clock, I would call it 10:30, 11 o'clock. That's kind of where I leave it right there for any kind of long range shooting where I need that full magnification. But yep, that's my review. You guys have any questions?
Yeah, normally I don't follow so much of what other people say, but I was looking at this one because I was looking at it on Optics Planet, and there were a bunch of comments about at the higher magnifications blurring on the edges. And I know you talked about the overall image kind of degrading at the higher magnification. Did you notice the edges were particularly bad? Because some of them mentioned it and others were saying, you know, that wasn't my experience with it, stuff like that.
I mean,
what did you find?
When I first got it, it was kind of more in the summer. And so I tried it out in the heat. And so look, you know, obviously you've got a lot of mirage to deal with at longer ranges where that kind of builds up and amplifies in your view. But as far as the clarity of those, I mean, I feel like I could still read, like at 300 yards, I could still read some of the words on targets at the range. It's just, you know, obviously not the best picture. You know, as far as the color, I didn't notice like color shifting too much. I think I read Run Review and I was like, what, did everything go grayscale? When you zoomed in, he kind of made it seem more exaggerated. But I like I said, I'd keep it at 24 for most of the work that you're going to be doing with it.
Because I know there's some other models that also only go up to 24. You think maybe if you had to do it over again, you'd go with one of the other ones?
I would, but I mean, if we're talking like a Vortex, that's, you know, what, a 6 to 20 or something past that in Night Force. I mean, you're spending over $1,000 or very close to it. And this thing, I can't believe it's under $500. So you got to realize what you're not going to pay this price point for something that is, oh my gosh, the greatest scope to bless mankind. You know, there's going to be some features some things that are lacking with that clarity. You know, you can't expect it to be a Vortex $2,000 spotting scope or Night Force or Swarovski or any other brand. Pick your flavor.
I'm just looking at other models from the same manufacturer, you know, that even then are, you know, $200 more, but there's a 4.5 to 27, there's 4.5 to 29, you know. So I was just wondering if you thought maybe
if
white magnification was a waste.
Yeah, if I had bought this, you know, myself and I had it sent to me for review, a firing line review, then I would have tried out the 34 and gone, oh wow, well that's cool, but I won't use it, and I'm not really completely satisfied with the results at 34. I'm gonna save or spend the difference, whether positive or negative, and get a scope that doesn't even have 34 on it, that stops, like you said, at 24 or 20. I mean, I think that if you need 34 power, you are probably shooting at distances close to a mile. If you're shooting those distances, then you probably have a really nice rifle, you know, and a really hot, nice caliber with a low BC. And you're probably going to want to like readjust how you built your rifle build and start with maybe a higher quality optic that you're going to be able to see much
you're going to spend more than $500 on glass. Yeah.
Right. Which is usually the rule. You spend twice as much on the optic as you did the rifle. In this case, I mean, that rifle is pretty cheap because this was, you know, only $390. I mean, what are you going to do? Put this on like a 22? Or Mosin Nagant or something like that, or a Savage Axis.
I mean, it sounds like it's a decent scope for the price. I mean, you're not
it sounds awesome for the price.
What?
It sounds awesome for the price.
Yeah.
I mean, usually, I mean, if especially, I don't use Vortex as a comparison for a lot of this, but that's obviously having sold Vortexes at a store and using them on all my rifles. You know, I tend to see their differences between their you know, the Vipers, the Viper PSTs, the HSs, the HSS, or the HSLs. And basically, it's the turrets, the illumination, and the reticle that really affect that price gap. You know, do you want a really tactical reticle? Do you want a Luminaire reticle? Do you want big tactile turrets on there? And getting all three of those features and the side focus in one scope usually automatically puts you at the, you know, $900, $1,000 range in the Vortex line. Here it is, our Athlon, they put all those features into this scope and you can get it for under $400. That's pretty phenomenal. All
Not
those
to mention
features,
first focal plane.
yeah, and first focal plane.
Yeah.
So the fact that they were able to squeeze all those into this, I don't think you'll ever find an optic that has all those features combined for this price point. The fact of the matter is the only thing it really falters on is the clarity past 24 power.
You said you put that on a 700, right?
Yes.
Did you notice that the little nub they've got to adjust the zoom? Did that impact the bolt operation?
Nope. And I even
Okay,
have the we've reviewed them. The Kinetic Development Group, the enlarged bolt knob, that kind of the two halves that go over the bolt knob.
Yep.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
it's even larger than it usually is, and they don't touch.
Because I think I've got that same knob on my Remington 700. I looked to buy a Trigicon scope, and I couldn't buy it because that little knob they've got on the magnification lever interfered with the operation of the bolt.
I lied. It does touch.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's right when it's at 10 power. That puts that ledge right where that bolt knob is. So that's kind of a problem. I mean, if you had it, actually, it's more like 9. Really, is where it gets to hang up on that. But I've like really, I think I use JB Weld, so this thing never comes off. So I don't have a Remington 700 without that modification on the bolt knob to test it on. But it's just barely hitting it, and I would wager that if you did not have a modified bolt knob, then it would still have the clearance. Although you might be like scuffing up the skin on your thumb if you're not doing it carefully.
Yeah.
So that's something to consider. Also, the height of your rings too. I mean, if you try and get it really, you can kind of see the gap between the bell and the barrel. I still got it pretty close. If I went with the very highs, it would obviously elevate the scope even higher, and you might have more clearance that way, even if it's just an extra like 6 millimeters. Anyway, that was actually a very good question.
I come up with those every now and then. That's my good question for the year.
Yeah, right.
Nice job, Rob.
Nice
Back in your hole.
Bye-bye.
Cool.
So I think that's not your first focal plane scope, correct?
No, I've got some Vortex. I think the 2.5 to 10 Viper PST was my first focal plane.
Gotcha. No, because I got a first focal plane on my Ruger Precision, the Viper. I think it's the PST model. It's a super nice scope. And the one thing I think you were saying earlier about zooming in, and with the first focal plane, the reticle gets bigger. Yeah, you'd want to go spend some time at the range and learn exactly what kind of bullet drop you get at 100 yards, 200 yards, 300 yards, so you know how to dial in the elevation. So I would imagine you're out there hunting, okay, I got 200 yards to that target, so you just crank up the elevation, and then you know where you're at,
Yeah, well, 300 Win Mag, 200 yards. That's zero. But
yeah, you were shooting 300 Win Mag?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Nice. So hey, did the scope hold 0 with the 300 Win Mag?
Oh yeah, no problem there. Okay. Well, also the rings that I got on here are pretty ridiculous too. I forget who makes them. Mm-hmm. I asked them for free rings, and they kind of snubbed me, saying that they don't do that. So I went out and bought them anyway. I think I even did a review on the show, but I can't remember the life of them for the life of me, or the name of them for the life of me. Sorry, I got tongue-tied there. But they're really high-quality rings, and hasn't moved an inch. So I would say that if you wanted to mount this on something bigger, like a 338 or a 50, or a Lottie, I think it would hold up just fine.
Oh, yeah, let's mount that sucker on a freaking 20 millimeter Lottie. Yeah, there you go.
Right?
You should try it on a 12 gauge with slugs. That might destroy it.
Why don't you just send it to me? I'll take care of it.
Yeah, you just look at it.
And again, too, this is another one of the scope manufacturers is jumping on. I think it's Vortex started the lifetime unconditional warranty. And then that was spread. That's kind of almost become a standard throughout the industry, you know.
Vortex raised the bar on everyone. Everybody had to step up their game if they wanted to stay in it.
Yep.
I was wondering, does Vortex have something in this price point with that magnification, or they don't even touch it?
No,
No, with that
Okay.
magnification.
they don't.
That's what I was looking at.
In that
I was
price
going
range,
through
you're
stuff.
still looking at their 4 to 12s and their 3 to 9s, whether it's in the the Diamondback series.
Yeah,
I don't even
Diamondbacks.
think you can get a Viper PST close to that
I
unless
think
it's
they'll turn around
secondhand. Yeah.
Yeah, and they got the Crossfire or something like that, Vortex line?
Yeah,
Is that
Crossfire
them?
2, that's their lower tier, and then you got your
Yeah.
Diamondback, and then you get your Viper, and then you get your Viper PST. But I mean, I think even like the cheapest Viper, the 1 to 4, isn't even that. I think it's still about $500-$600.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, I was just looking at it for an equivalent, and it's like, nope, there are not.
Yeah, so I think overall, I think it's a fantastic quality scope.
Well,
I
for the
probably
price.
the big thing that I liked about it is that I actually I built this rifle for my dad. It had a Vortex on there, 4 to 16, with whatever their MOA BDC reticle is, and he couldn't see the lines. So I made him a nice little printout showing what yardage is for his the load that I developed for him. And he couldn't see the lines all that well until he put on his glasses. But a lot of times he doesn't hunt with his glasses on all the time, so it was kind of an issue to me. It's like, oh man, you can't even see the crosshairs. That's not good. So I like this scope because even when you're zoomed out, I mean the lines are thick enough to see. He's probably not going to keep it on 8 power, but even at 8 power, he could read all the numbers, which is important to me. He's how old is he? He's got to be 60 something. I think he's pushing the 60, the nice round number this year.
So he's young. Compared
Oh, he's younger than Chad.
So he's about 40 years younger than Chad, and I do like the first focal plane when you zoom in, it gets even thicker. So that really helps you in. Okay, I know that I've got to hold by 5.5 mils. Makes it really easy to do that. I just had to explain mils to him, which was like pulling teeth.
Hey, Chad again.
Yeah, Chad again, right?
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, he would actually prefer something that had custom turrets matched to the load, so that 500, and then just clicks the turret to 500 and pulls the trigger. He's kind of lazy like that. Now I see where I get it sometimes, so I might see what I can do for that, and then just keep this scope for myself. Because that's what happens when you have a dad that likes to shoot too. You can buy things for him, and if it doesn't work out, then hey, you just bought it for yourself.
Yeah, that's really big of you.
Yeah, that's why I want a son, really, so I can start giving him my Christmas and birthday lists early.
The
Wow.
problem is it won't take him long to figure out that if he buys you stuff that he wants, he gets to use it.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's exactly what I do.
I mean, I have a mag loader for that reason.
Also, you could have a daughter that does the same thing. I just wanted to throw that out there.
Oh yeah, no, I'm planning on it. I've got a contingency plan in case that Y chromosome is missing.
Guess who's getting a Muddy Girl 22?
All right, so now we're going to talk about some products this week. The first one is this Glock trigger from SSVI, and SSVI stands for Speed, Surprise, Violence of Action, and Industries. So that's kind of their company name. They've got
Simon Says Train sounds so much better.
Right?
Speed and silence and track shoes and run quietly and punch in the face.
And pizza rolls.
Do they have to pay extra for the URL?
My goodness.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just ssvi.us. So they developed an aftermarket shoe for the Glock trigger, and they offer it in the full configuration attached to the trigger bar, or you can just buy the shoe separately and then just take off your old shoe and put on the new shoe. The price difference is only $10. So it depends on if you really want to keep all of the original Glock stuff and just change out the trigger shoe. That's kind of up to you. They literally did nothing else to the trigger other than redesign the shoe itself. And the whole theory behind that is, well, if you redesign the shoe so you get better leverage with your finger and the trigger pull, you get a better trigger pull just because of the whole ergonomics of it. So they literally didn't touch anything else. They do recommend, put like a ghost or a rocket connector in there because that also helps. But basically, you're basically paying for a redesigned shoe. It's got their cool little Viking hammer sigil on the front of it. It's pretty tactical on the outside as far as it's got kind of aggressive modeling to it's just a CNC aluminum machined shoe there. It does have the trigger safety like all Glocks do. It's also a little bit more redesigned with more of a hook at the bottom. So instead of being like a flat trigger like a lot of aftermarkets go toward, this is kind of more curved with the theory that the curved trigger helps you to kind of recenter your finger in the middle of the trigger and pull it correctly, place it on the trigger correctly as you're pulling. So that's kind of all there is to it. It's $150 though. So if it's just a shoe, it seems a little steep for that that price point, especially if it's only $140 if you don't want the other parts and you just want the shoe itself. That's kind of pricey when there's other Glock triggers that are kind of more complex for the same price point. I'm just wondering if, they're really onto something with, hey, you don't need any other fancy engineering. You just need to redesign the shoe.
Could be. I was looking at this and, it is a pretty snazzy looking trigger. I like how it's not like super curved, but it's still got a little bit of a curve to it, like you said. I do know that there are flat triggers out there that when you pull them, they go past the like perpendicular thing. So your finger tends to slide down and you won't really have that problem with this semi-curved trigger. So is it worth the $150 for that? I don't know, but they do make it for the 43 and the 42 as opposed to all the other standard Glocks too.
Yeah.
Well,
Aluminum trigger.
Well, I was looking at it and I was reading the review in Recoil magazine, and I really think they should send me one and let me check that out and make my own opinion because I'm thinking it doesn't change the trigger pull because but it changes the feel of the trigger pull, and I'm like $150. That's like 500 rounds of ammo. I think I can just get used to that trigger pull with 500 rounds of ammo and still be rocking with my stock Glock.
I think after 500 rounds, some of that grit get worked out.
And I'm like, is it that much better? Hey, listen, get good with your gun and then upgrade. But upgrading before you even comfortable with your firearm, putting stuff on it like, I just bought my Glock 19 and now I'm going to put some stuff on it, guys. And it's going to be awesome. And it's like, well, you don't know what awesome is. You haven't shot it yet.
Well, aren't there videos on YouTube on how to pop your Glock apart, do a quick trigger job, put it back in there where it's not as gritty?
Yeah, there's the 10-cent trigger job. There's, Glock Armor School is not expensive either. Factory parts to improve your trigger pull can be had for, less than $50. It's a hard sell at that price point, and they're out of stock. And like Tony said, if they want to send it and convince me otherwise, that's kind of the only way I'm willing to try this one. I don't care how cool she looks.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like it looks like a Batman trigger, honestly.
Yeah.
They've got some pictures on the Recoil website. We've got in the I'll put it in the show notes. If you actually go to the link in the show notes and you go to the SSVI page, they've got the Recoil link right above the video where he shows you how to put it in a Glock 43. And that being said, you can get this for a small, the new Glock 43, 42, or the standard size frame, or the large size frame. So it is compatible with pretty much all the Glocks, depending on which one you order. But in the recoil article, they do have kind of overlaid pictures showing what the trigger looks like compared to a OEM trigger, showing both the reset and the pull. So it does look like it's an improvement just based on looking at it without feeling it. But until I get to qualify with it, I can't tell you.
Wait. An improvement on Glock perfection?
Yeah.
What?
It must be perfect perfection. Or
Inconceivable.
Oh,
well, my thing is
Improved perfection.
they're out of the entire trigger, but you can get the trigger shoe, which they do have in stock, for $140. And I'm like, yeah, I don't think so. But I mean, obviously, this thing only costs $40, and the other $100 is for the Norse lore that they make up to put all over this thing. All the Viking god of one-handed thunder or some crap. I don't know.
Tyr, the god of war, also represented by the rune Twats. I'm sorry. How's that pronounced?
dadgum.
Was invoked to encourage victory in battle, matters of law, justice, honor, and oaths. Oaths?
Odin?
Yeah,
Oats. The two Utes?
The two Utes.
What's a Ute?
So
it just really kills me. It's a lot of marketing hype, it seems.
Well,
to
I
me.
mean,
right now it hasn't proven to me anything that I can't get by dry firing this. I'm dry firing my stock Glock until I actually get used to the trigger. Again, it did not change the trigger pull at all. The trigger pull weight at all. It just changed the angle. And for $150 and all I'm getting is a shoe. I understand they had to research, development, CAD file, whatever they had to do to come up with this. But that price point is really high if all I'm getting is a new shoe.
if they develop their own connector that, or they partnered with like Rocket or Ghost or whatever and use their connector, and you're getting both of those upgrades with one price, $150, I'd be on board. I'd be like, okay, I'll give that a try. But the fact that you can get the connector on your own and put it in less than 10 minutes and then have a greater impact to the crispness of that trigger pull and the over travel and whatnot than just replacing the shoe for better like finger pad ergonomics. I don't really see how that computes,
I'm just saying for $150 you can get 3 hours of qualified instruction from Tony Simon if Simon says train.
There you go.
There you go.
There you go.
Hey,
they do stippling services too, which don't look that bad actually. So I'd hate to stomp over triggers and not mention that, hey, their stippling jobs on Glocks actually don't look too bad. Maybe they should stick to stippling.
Well, you can also pick up their SSVI Battle Comp Custom for $2,250.
Yeah,
that's a Glock 19 that's been kind of tricked out.
I mean, I think that's a great deal because you do want to have a $500 Glock with $1,700 worth of work done to it.
Yes, especially since it's a Gen 3.
Oh yeah, the good one.
Gen 3, baby.
I don't know. That's a bit like great grandma trying to go to the plastic surgeon
for a tuck and a lift.
I just go, what are we doing here?
Yep. All right, so moving on. We actually got a new product from Gun Vault, and this is the AR Vault, and this is specifically for your AR-15. So it works just the same as a handgun vault, except it's made to cover up the receivers of your AR-15. You still have your handguard and your barrel and your stock and your receiver extension tube protruding out from the safe. So you're not concealing it really. You're just making it inaccessible and inoperable while it's bolted to something, hopefully. So the price point on this guy is $199.99 for MSRP. That's just for the basic one with the manual buttons. Extra $100 for the biometric version. So I guess this would be if you wanted to keep your AR-15 ready to go in the closet or somewhere else that's hopefully out of sight, but be able to access it within pressing a quick combination on the keypad or using the biometric feature. I wanted to see what you guys had to think about this because I never thought about having my AR-15. Granted, AR-15 is a fantastic home defense tool if you know how to use it. and it's not covered with more gadgets than Inspector Gadget. But is this really necessary?
Well, necessary is to whoever might want it, but
For $200?
yeah,
I'm confident street price is going to be less than $200.
Yep, definitely less than $200. You guys tell. I got something else to say about it, but you guys run with this.
Yeah, I do. I do too. But we're dealing with, if we think it's a good idea or not. For some people, it might be.
I've got one of their vertical safes mounted right next to my bed, and that's where I keep my home defense pistol. Granted, I don't really have kids. I'm not worried about kids getting into my gun. I just like the idea that if someone breaks in, it's still right by my bed. I can get it within 20 seconds if I'm woken up from a slumber, and yet it's not something that's easily accessible. So it's kind of that balance of easy to access, not easy to steal sort of thing, or easy to play, open up, get to, and possibly have a accidental discharge or a negligent discharge by someone that's not me. So it's the same theory with your AR-15, and I guess having a safe, that's either got a key lock or a keypad on there. It's faster than a safe because you're not having to kind of move everything around, keep your AR-15 like in the very first slot in the safe. It's definitely faster than that. I'll give it credit for that. But the big downfall that I see, I want to get out of the way before I let you guys rip into it, is that the way that it goes around the upper, you need to have a handguard that makes use of your D-ring. The old style D-ring. So you've got to have a 2-piece handguard, be it the GI, maybe I'm assuming the Magpul MOE still works. So if you've got a free floated handguard, I'm not sure if it's going to work.
Yeah, I noticed that too.
Delta ring, it looks like.
If it's a standard AR-15 pattern rifle with a Delta ring forearm attachment, and that's these days, that's a little bit harder to come by unless you just buy, a DPMS Oracle right out of the gate, and you don't do a thing to it.
I'm thinking this would be for somebody who wants to mount their AR-15, like they got a picture in their closet or next to the bed or somewhere, and say to the government that, yes, I'm doing what I can to keep my kids from getting a hold of my AR-15. For me, I don't think I buy one personally.
Maybe to put in your car.
Be even hard pressed for my car.
Maybe, but maybe for law enforcement, if they're using, if they've got patrol carbines, although most of them aren't keeping them in the trunk anymore, and there's certainly not room in a cab for this. So I'm having a hard time finding the problem that this solves.
And my next question is, can you put a 30-round mag in this and lock it up?
No. I don't see how
it doesn't look like it.
Doesn't look like it.
No, because they don't have any pictures of what the gun looks like inside of there. Everything is with the case open. You can't see what the gun looks like inside of the compartment.
Right. That's what I saw too.
This is the other thing. It's coming in spring 2017, so they don't have a lot of information on it yet. This is clearly, I think this is just a drawing. Interior product dimensions to be announced by to be announced by to be announced.
Right.
And gauge to be announced. They don't even tell you what thickness it is yet.
Well, if you do a Google,
number of unique fingerprints to be announced. Number of user selectable access codes to be announced. So this thing is in the very early stages. However, you can review it on the manufacturer site. So here's your chance. Give it 1 star straight down the line and kill this thing before it gets off the ground.
Well,
save Gun Vault the trouble of producing a couple thousand and being disappointed.
I've right now we selected the Speed Vault from Gun Vault, the biometric for their pistol, for something we're doing on my job for active shooter. We secure the pistols with this. The biometric right now it's set up. It's 120 fingerprints it can read. Which you go, good Lord, how many people are going to have access to the gun? No, what you want to do for something like 120 fingerprints is to have all of your fingers, you know what I mean, on everyone that has access read into the biometric.
Yeah, that's only 12 people, right?
Well, yeah, but
I mean,
again,
if you have all of them.
No, because you do it one way and then you do it the other, upside down. My
Yeah.
thing is, you never know what direction you're going to be coming at this from, and you want it to swipe and read the first time. But the sad thing about biometrics is it's an electronic device. They always, it might not read the first time or the second time or with your first finger, or if you have blood on your hand, you know what I mean? That's the scary part about using biometrics, is we're not there yet. These things work 100% of the time.
Yeah.
Another thing is, I think a lot of people have ARs that still have the Delta ring on it. I think just, people that are really into ARs don't, but a crap ton of them sell with a Delta ring already on it.
Jeez, people, get on my level.
Yeah, I mean, even the Saint came
Why
out.
would
they
I
had
want
a
to come
Delta ring.
down?
Nice.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
Everyone knows you need a free floated barrel for shooting targets indoors at 50 yards. It's just,
Exactly.
it's necessary.
Yeah, I do love all the stuff that you have to have on your AR-15 so you can shoot it to 25-yard indoor range at your local range.
That only goes to 22 yards because they got a rubber backstop.
Yeah, but I think there might be okay. It might be okay. It might be decent, but I'm just wondering, how the heck do you mount this and get to it when it's mounted, and how much room does it take up actually over just getting a safe and mounted it inside, one of the lockbox safes?
Yeah.
Because again, if they don't tell you the gauge, that thing can be as thin as one of the $100 safes you can pick up from whatever your big box store is.
Mm-hmm.
So I did a quick Google search, and there's some other blogs basically that have a picture of this with the safe actually open and the gun resting kind of in position, and there does not seem to be any room for anything larger than a 20-round magazine, but I'm not even sure if that's going to fit all the way. But I did see that it has an A2 carry handle mounted on it, which made me think, oh, wait a minute, optics. What if you have a red dot on here, or any other kind of optic? Is there going to be limited room? Could you not fit an ACOG? Could you not fit a 1-4 if that's what you choose to keep on your?
Listen, you mall ninja freak. Everybody doesn't need all that stuff on it.
Yes, we do.
Why doesn't the gun vault fit my Beta C-Mag?
Well, I mean, we're talking
unacceptable.
optics. Okay, Tony, I know everything you own has an A2 carry handle on it, but not all of us have that still.
He's like, hey, where are
Including
my
his high-point
45-degree
carbine.
offsets? My 45-degree offsets don't fit in here. My 7,000 lumen flashlight.
Oh, no, that's mounted to the handguard, so that doesn't have to fit in the gun vault.
Oh, okay,
and
cool.
TJ is a flashlight guy. You're not going to get that argument from me.
Nice.
But I'm wondering, like, when you open it, right? Like, because it works. It's like a door. It opens, from right to left. I guess depending if you mounted it upside down, if that's possible, I guess it'd be the other way. So it's clamping around your gun. Is there anything holding it in its place so that it doesn't just come crashing to the ground on the barrel or on the stock once you open the door?
Right.
It looks like there's something gripping.
Probably the D-ring.
Yeah,
Yep.
right. So I guess you'd open it and then you either grab it from the handguard or grab the pistol grip and just kind of pull it out of where it's sitting on those sheet metal.
Yeah, and I'm
I think
wondering
it's
about
a lot of speculation. They might put a big magnet in there to catch the bolt, or maybe it's got Velcro straps because they haven't decided what gauge it is yet. We're a long way off from really being able. I can't qualify with this vault in the current configuration that they're advertising.
Nice.
There's just not enough information there.
My thing is, I think
they don't even know. So how are we supposed to know? I say we revisit this in summer of 2017.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The truck gun application, I kind of like that, or trunk gun or whatever, because it'll be secure, and it looks like you won't be able to get to any parts of it to do anything. So that might be a great application if you can mount it in your vehicle.
Can they make it out of AR-500 so that I can pull it out of my trunk and use it as a shield if I don't have time to open it?
Because it's kind of enormous.
How's this? Can you remove the door and have shoulder straps built in so I can hook it over my head?
There you go.
Take out the rifle and hook the door over my head.
God, that's a great idea, Tony.
Chest plate.
Can we just put a motor and wheels on it so I can drive this thing around instead of a car?
I kind
Well,
of
that'd
like
be
what you're
ridiculous.
thinking there, buddy.
Let's keep this
I took
realistic,
it too
guys.
far. I took
Yeah,
it
you
too
took
far.
it too
Is that
far.
what I...
Always too far, Sean.
Always crossing the line. All right.
Oh.
So here's my thing. If you want something like this, I think there's other that A, are less expensive, and B, probably do just as good a job. From trigger locks to this 1-3 arms and accessories, they make their IC lock that goes in the ejection port. You know, if you're just looking for something small to secure one gun, I think there's a better way to go about it than this. And again, until Gun Vault really decides what they're doing, we're all just speculating. So we got to come back to it once they figure it out. I love you, Gun Vault, but you got to make up your mind.
Why can't I talk with such good words like that?
I mean, I've got a gun vault in my car that I use to put my my gun in when I go into like post office, or you go into a building or something where you can't take a gun in with you. And the main purpose for that is to lock your gun up and keep somebody who's not determined to take it. And that's the same thing with this. If someone's determined to take the gun, they'll just rip the gun vault off the wall and take the whole thing with them, and then bust open the gun vault when they get back to their lair. I mean, this is really designed to keep your kids from getting at your AR-15.
Wait a minute. Who the heck is going to steal your gun? The Joker? The mayor?
This is why Rob's on the run and hiding out in hotel rooms, man.
Oh, my
The
God.
Joker, the Penguin, they're after him.
I think it's Skeletor. I mean,
The lair. He used the word lair in a sentence. Who are you, He-Man?
oh, I'm glad that's you, not me, Rob. I feel your pain. I've been there. Just one
lair.
word.
Hey, I can take it.
Congratulations, Rob.
As long as you're picking on me, some other poor fool alone.
You're officially the more useless superhero than Aquaman.
Hey, Aquaman's the man. He's got man in his name, so he's the man.
Oh, my God.
What about Ant-Man?
Oh.
All right, this is not the podcast for superhero debate. Let's just cut that out.
Yeah, but they're the only
Nerds.
podcast with a superhero. Rob's in his lair.
You want to talk about?
Listen, that's how we're advertising the show from now on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but leave Rob alone. He's in this.
Hey, keep picking on me. I entered a contest to win another AR-15.
His fortress of unwelcome solitude.
If we keep mocking Rob, he's only going to win more guns. We have to stop.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry, Rob. I take that all back, man.
No, keep it up. Keep it up. Keep it up.
No, I'm going to send you some potpourri so you can put it up in your lair. Merry Christmas.
How about some scented candles too?
There you go.
Oh, mistletoe.
I'd like to wrap this up if y'all don't mind.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
Yeah, we do.
Fine,
Sorry,
we'll do
we
all
don't
the
just
things you
come
want to
pick on
do.
me.
Fine, we got to do everything Ryan wants.
Yeah. Ryan wants to hear about the second is for everyone diversity shoots. That's what Ryan wants.
Yeah. I
All
was
right,
going to say
quiet,
it's Tony's time.
Quiet, everybody. This is just got real.
What?
Second is for everyone diversity shoot. We're going to have a announcement coming up next weekend. Stay tuned for it. It's going to be awesome. The next shoot is coming up on February 2nd. There will be multiple shoots throughout the year at various locations in New Jersey and Pennsylvania if everything works out like it should. And
Hey, is that big announcement about the...
You know what, man? Listen, I can start hanging out with my imaginary friends. I don't need you. But yeah, Second is for Everyone's going to be big. Come and check us out. Second is for Everyone on Facebook, or Simon Says Train on Instagram or Facebook. And you can look at the website and see pictures from the other events. Let me know you're coming on diversityshoot.com. We have a lot of good companies. If you've been following Simon Says Train, you saw some awesome swag coming from Patriot Patch Company. There will be more pictures of the stuff that's from Patriot Patch Company coming up. So really, 2017 is going to be the big year. If you guys can donate, go to diversityshoot.com and you can donate there. Or you want to buy some stuff from Black Bag Resources and use the Simon Says Train coupon code, and Sean will give the stuff to me that we use during the year. Thanks a lot. I really appreciate it, as always.
Sweet.
Chad's got a A2 pistol grip to send you too.
Oh,
Yeah.
no. Did he? Oh.
And if you guys
there it
have
is.
any extra A2 pistol grips, send them to Tony Simon.
And if you have dead 2032 batteries, send them to Chad Wallace.
Yes! Yes!
Man. Wow, Ryan's the man.
Mic drop. It's wait, I'm trying to stand. I can't drop this.
At least
Just
with
do
those, I get enough.
Just tap it, Ryan. Tap it. Tap that mic.
Tap the mic. Tap the mic.
I get enough of those things, and I can sell the precious metals in them.
Here you go.
Okay.
All right. So wrapping up, send questions or comments to gungearreview@gmail.com. Remember to subscribe and leave us an iTunes review. Check out all the other shows on the Firearms Radio Network at firearmsradio.tv. And be sure to visit the Firearms Insider for reviews and industry coverage. So thanks, everyone, for listening to this week's show, and we'll catch you on the next episode. Well, I will be reviewing that tactical stalking, and I'm sure we'll be having a lot more fun at each other's expense. So stay tuned. Sean,
I'm not doing it. Yes, I am.
You're not doing it? Come on.
Felicia,
There you go.
bye.
Peer pressure, peer pressure, peer pressure, peer pressure.